Welcome to Unity Inspired Living. Our community began in 1989 as a small worldwide Unity book study group, and we've continued the momentum as an ever-evolving spiritual community. Each Sunday, you will find dynamic thought leaders delivering inspiring messages and talented musicians sharing sound healing through their melody. Here, we embrace ancient spiritual traditions, universal truths, and emerging wisdom. Let's check out this Sunday message. We're so grateful you've joined us. Thank you for being with us. And everybody, I now invite you to open even more fully to Karen. She's going to continue with her music and then go into her message this morning. And we are invited to jump on this journey. And thank you, Karen, for being with us. We're grateful for you.
Thank you, dear one. Thank you. I'm already filled up. My goodness. We're just starting here. I love it. All right. So I'm going to be talking about joy this morning. These Wackadoodle Times. So this is a song I wrote with J.D. Martin. So I'll teach you the chorus in just a moment, but just take a deep breath with me. Just wiggle a little bit. Just get in your body a little bit more. And feel free to dance on this one once we kick in. It goes like this. Peace for all seasons. Oh, did I already blow it? Love every moment. That's the thing about tracks, if you don't come in right on time. Oh, okay. Well, it goes, light shines wherever we are. Faith in the darkness. Hope in the silence. And joy, joy, joy in our hearts. Okay, here you go. Now you can get up and dance. And I love this line. Every day is a choice to show some kindness. We all are part of one family, yeah. So connected, our hearts and spirits. I reach out for you, and you reach out for me. Peace for our seasons, love every moment, light shines wherever we are. Faith in the darkness, hope in the silence, and joy, joy, joy in our hearts, yeah. This is so true. Here we go. Now is the time to come together to count our blessings. We are grateful. We lift our voices in one chorus. My brothers, my sisters, let's celebrate. Now peace for all seasons, love every moment, light shines wherever we are. Faith in the darkness, hope in the silence, and now joy, joy, joy in our hearts, yes. Okay, this is your free-form dance part. Yeah, yeah. I love this. Let's celebrate peace. Let's celebrate love. Let's celebrate light that shines. It shines, shines, shines. Let's celebrate faith. Let's celebrate hope. Let's celebrate joy. Joy in our hearts. Now, peace for all seasons, love every moment, light shines wherever we are. Our faith in the darkness, hope in the silence, and now joy, joy, in our hearts. Now peace for all seasons, love every moment, and the light, that light shines wherever we are. Faith in the darkness, and hope in the silence, and now joy, joy, in our hearts. I'm talking about joy, joy in our hearts. about joy. Talking about joy. So I want to talk about joy today. Let me just go back here for a second. So, all right. Why am I talking about joy today? Because it's kind of it is a little wackadoodle times, isn't it, right now? But you know who's going through a hard time right now in the world? You want to know who's going through a hard time? Everybody. Everybody on some level is going through a hard time right now. And I thought, when I looked at what subject to talk about today, I thought I wanted to address this because I don't know if you have this, Amy, but whenever I choose a talk title for a talk or a workshop, it's like all my issues get to come up around that subject. Like it is just my therapy. Any talk title I have, it's like it just becomes like you just embody it, you live it, you get to have all your stuff come up about what it means to you, what that word means to you. So question for you, do any of you ever choose a word for the year? Do you know about that practice? It's another little spiritual practice that when the year starts, you pick a word. And whatever word that is, it truly is like whatever needs to be healed or whatever you need to look at around it, it comes up throughout the year. And, so every year I pick different words. And actually, I'll give you one little thing. I'll talk about this more in my workshop, but there is, it's called getoneword.com/posters. And if you go to getoneword.com, then it takes you to this place. You can make a little poster, and I should have got my poster out for y'all. But it's, I have like ocean waves with the word joy in it. So I keep that up on my bulletin board a lot of times, and it helps. But one of the reasons I decided to talk about joy today is that, with all the turmoil in the world, I ain't been feeling a lot of joy these days. I don't know about you, but I haven't. I've just really noticed that my joy meter has gone down, and it's really been easy for me to get caught up in the news and what's going on and all the tragedies and all this kind of stuff. And I think what's even more ironic is that next year I'm doing kind of a big gig. I signed up to do this. I'm doing a women's retreat, co-facilitating with this another fabulous woman. We are co-facilitating a women's retreat on a cruise ship. And when we talked about, well, what should it be about? She said, why don't we call it the Joy Cruise? And I went, okay, I guess I have to really look at this if I'm going to talk about this at a women's retreat for a week. So I decided that I was going to really just delve into this word. And as I said, whatever comes up, you get to look at. And one of the things that came up recently for me was something not so joyful. I had a death of a dear, dear, sweet friend of mine. Some of you know that I'm a swimmer and I'm on a swim team. And I have two coaches, and one of my coaches that has been one of my swim coaches for like over 20 years, this wonderful man named Don Schwartz. I just got a text like 2 weeks ago that he had passed away. He was on a vacation in Costa Rica and just had a heart attack and was gone like that. And what was so amazing about this situation was we have an adult team and the youth team, and they usually are like two separate entities. And the morning after, we all came to the pool with tears in our eyes, hugging each other. We were truly one community, one family grieving together. And this has gone on now for, a couple of weeks. And just this last Sunday, we had his celebration of life. And I want to just show you this picture because you never know how you affect people. And look at this picture of all the people that came. They all have their hands up like this because whenever you did something good, Don would go, yeah, like this. And so someone, when they were doing their testimonials, said, everyone, put your hands up. Look at how many people were there for him. It is so packed. It's all the way standing room only. And I was so moved by the fact that every single person that got up there to talk about him, his name is Don Schwartz, by the way, every single person said the joy that he brought to my life was amazing. I'd come into work out sometime and just be dragging, and his enthusiasm and his passion. Even at 5:45 in the morning, we would have like 3 workouts during the day, and he'd be on that pool deck at 5:45 with his arms up. Come on, you guys, you can do this. And I left thinking, this is how I want to be remembered, that I brought joy to people's lives. Because the fact that there were 300 people crammed into this room, listening to testimonial after testimonial, it was so inspiring. And I thought, that's what we need to be. And, but yet, I will tell you honestly, every time I've thought about, well, I want to be joyful, I want to have joy, what comes up for me is guilt. What comes up for me is, well, how can I be joyful when there's all this suffering, when people are everywhere? I mean, losing their homes, or they don't have a home, or there's the war, or there's this, or the separation in families because of the political, divide that we have, all the stuff. And I love this quote from Joseph Campbell, who said, "We cannot cure the world of sorrows, but we can choose to live in joy." I'll say that again. That's why I wanted to sing that song. We cannot cure the world of sorrows, but we can choose to live in joy. And I was part of a women's conference recently where the keynote speaker, that was a surprise to everybody, wound up to be Joan Baez. And Joan Baez walks in, and she didn't have a speech. She just was going to just kind of do a question and answer with all the women there. And everyone raised their hands like, Joan, you were there in the 60s with, you got arrested and you protested and you were there and all the main things that were going on, like, what's happening now. Tell us what to do. You know what she said? She did a long pause. She goes, be happy. And everyone goes, she said, joy. It's all about joy. She said, I'll paraphrase this. She said, you have to fill your well up with love, joy, and passion. And that allows you to shine your light. If you come to any of this with anger and frustration, it does no good. She said, I'm 85 years old. I just took up dancing, and I'm having the time of my life. My joy, and listen to this, my joy is an act of defiance. And from that place, I can make a difference. I love that. From that place of joy and filling up and being happy, I'm not going to let them steal my joy. I'm not going to let them, whoever them is in your life, take away whatever it is that you want to do in your life. Because one of the reasons why I want to do this talk, and I'm doing talks a lot about kindness these days, is because I just feel like the world needs our light. We need to be these little sparks of light, because there is a lot of darkness. And the only way that we can make it through is to join hands. I mean, I love what Pat said. It's just like being in community, being with others, holding hands, going through whatever hard times we're going through together. And, actually, I want to read this to you too. I want to just, I think I'm going to read this to you. So Savannah Guthrie, you all know about what she's gone through with losing her mother, with her mother being kidnapped, and the amount of, tragedy in her life. And she talked about going back to work at Good Morning America. I guess that's that's the show she's on. And she said, I think this is part of my purpose now. I want to smile, and when I do, I want it to be real. And my joy will be my protest. My joy will be my answer. And being back at work with my family is joyful. And when it's not, I'll say so. I've been so grateful to have this family. I consider this my family, my greater family. And when times are hard, you want to be with your family. And that's really what church is all about. Whether you're online, whether you're together in person, or whether you just have friends, that you just allow yourself to. And I love what she said, when I'm not joyful, I'll let it be. So when I'm talking about joy, I'm not talking about that spiritual bypass of just saying, oh, everything, it's all good. I'm saying you have to do, it's exactly what your theme is for this month, of lean into your roots and lean into whatever is upsetting and, to journal about it or talk to friends or whatever, because the wings come from going through that deeper part into acknowledging what is not working, to then being able to say, okay, from that place, you can get little joy bubbles, which is what I'll talk about in a minute. But I think that in our workshop this afternoon, that's what we're going to be talking about. Like, how do you really deal with it when you're triggered, when you lose the joy? And it's important to acknowledge that we all do. We can't be joyful 24/7. It just doesn't happen. But what I do is I look for joy bubbles in the day, like little moments that a joy bubble comes up, and you just go, oh, I feel this little happy thing. And it might last for 30 seconds. But to me, it's about being present enough to notice when it happens. It's being present enough to notice that when that little joy bubble comes up, that you can go, oh, I feel joy in this moment, even in the midst of tragedy, even in the midst of the wackadoodle times. I mean, I remember when my father was dying, and it was just such a deep time and tragic. I remember talking to a friend, and we were laughing hysterically about something. And I remember the thought came up going, how can I be laughing when I'm in this, this dramatic time in my life? But that's what emotions are. Life is. It's this way. It's riding the waves and going, oh, right now I'm joyful. Feel that. Then let it drop, and it'll go wherever it's supposed to go. But one of the things that I'm actively choosing to do these days is do things that will bring me joy, that I think will bring me joy. You don't always know. And as I mentioned, I'm a swimmer. I'm not a runner. But last October, I got this email or Facebook or whatever saying, join us for the San Francisco half marathon. And for some reason, some part of me, now I was not going to do a half marathon, but they had a 10K and a 5K. And for some reason, there was some part of me that just said, you need something that's going to kick your butt during the winter time when it's dark and cold and raining, because I love walking. And for some reason, I thought, I'm going to sign up for this. Well, you know what happens. As soon as you sign up, all your stuff comes up again, like talk titles or whatever. And I signed up for this thing. And as soon as I did, it's like, what are you doing? You're not a runner. Why are you doing this? But I realized it was more than having a goal of in February, it was February 1st, of doing 6 miles of walking. I realized that I had belief systems that this walk went against all of my belief systems, meaning I hate crowds. There's 10,000 people that sign up for this thing. I hate crowds. I get nervous about, oh my God, where am I going to park? And how am I going to do this? And it's really early in the morning. I hate waking up before dark to do something. I don't run. I walk. So are they going to trample me? I mean, all of this stuff. And I call it belief systems. I also call it BS. You know the other term for that. But in my mind, BS in this thing was my belief systems. And for some reason, I thought there was a part of me that not only did I want the challenge of walking, but I thought I want to challenge these belief systems. So I'll tell you, the week before, I'm a mess. I'm going, oh, I shouldn't do this. There's going to be too many people. And I haven't trained enough. And blah, 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 blah. So you know what I did? You're not going to believe this. This is wild. I went to AI, Claude, and I said, I'm really freaked out about this walk, and I don't know what to 10. I don't know where I'm going to park, and I don't know if there's so many people. Claude, I'm telling you, if you haven't played with AI, I haven't done much of it, was amazing. Karen, you've got this. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to leave at 6:45. You're going to drive down Geary. Here's the parking lot. As soon as there will be buses there. I mean, it researched like within a nanosecond, and I did everything it told me to do. What parking lot, what time to leave. When the buses are there, he said, as soon as you get on the bus, that's half the thing. You got there. The rest of it, you'll just be, just going along with the flow. So I get on everything was right. I got on the bus. I got to the start. There's 10,000 people there. And I just kind of stood to the side. But when it was time to get into place, you get into place and the gun goes off and you see the start line way over there. You literally walk like little munchkins. Like in this, you're hardly moving because there's so many people. But eventually you get to the start and then it kind of starts to open up and then people start to run. Well, I just walked to the side and I just marched. I just did my little march. And I remember one of the things that Claude said, which was like so spiritual. Don't just make it about getting to the end. Don't make it about getting to the end. You signed up for this because you wanted to have an experience. Experience it. And I will tell you the joy that I felt in going through Golden Gate Park in San Francisco was amazing, because I was able to look at the trees, and because I'm walking, I'm just enjoying myself. And when I got to the end, I was amazed that I'm going through the finish line and there's a guy, and you have your number right there. There's a guy announcing everybody. And it's like, Karen Drucker, number 1073. And it's like, my name is being called out to everybody. And I was thrilled. And the reason I was thrilled mostly was because that I busted my belief system. And I let those joy bubbles come up. And I came home and I was so joyful. Not so much in the fact that I had finished this 6-mile thing, but that I had done this event in a way that was present and meaningful and joyful. So, so from that, though, what that does is I believe we have these joy bubbles that come up, and you start attaching them to other things. Because what do you think that experience did for me? I immediately got online and went, what else can I do? What else can I do that's going to bring up a joy bubble? And it just has inspired me to do more things like this. So that's one of the things we'll talk about in my workshop is like, really, when you get triggered, you can rely back on these memories, these joy bubbles that can come up. And, you know, I also believe too that I have this new expression that I'm living by. If you know the expression, if you see something, say something. That was from TSA, like if you see something that's suspicious. Well, I'm now reframing that to be, if you see something that touches your heart, say something. So that's another way that I'm creating joy bubbles, is that I allow myself, when I see something, to take time to notice it, to be present enough to notice it, because that's when a joy bubble could come up. And like on my little morning walk yesterday, I'm walking down the street and I just happened to notice this garden, it was just this gorgeous springtime garden. Everything was blooming. And I stopped and looked at it, and then I realized, oh, there's a woman watering right there. And I just said, oh, you know, I just have to tell you, I love your garden. It's just beautiful. You know, thank you so much. And I'll tell you something, that one little thing of if you see something, say something, in that one moment, what happened was a miracle. Because she said, thank you so much. I've been working so hard on this garden, and we just moved in, and this was my mom's house. And my mom passed away recently, and I planted this garden in her honor. And every morning when I come out here and water, I feel like she's with me. And talk about a joy bubble. Here's this stranger that within 2 seconds, we were so connected because I told her about losing my mom, and, you know, and just these ways that we keep them present. And she was talking about how the emotions come up, but she comes out here and waters and looks at the plants, and it makes her feel she's with her mom. You know, so say something. You never know what that little amount of kindness could bring joy. I mean, we brought joy to each other. We just left, just both of us beaming just from meeting each other. So another little thing that I do is I create altars, and I create things in my life that will remind me of joy, because I really believe that joy and presence, it's like we're right here, and it's so easy to just kind of go like this. So how do you bring yourself back? That's what meditation is. Meditation isn't necessarily about that you're going to be present for the, let's say, 10 minutes that you're meditating, what meditation is it's a practice of bringing yourself back. Because, you start to meditate, and then all of a sudden you go, oh, but the laundry has to be done. Da, da, da. Oh, no, come back, breathe. Then you breathe. Oh, but what about that chocolate cake? I really want to eat that. That's in the refrigerator. Oh, what about my diet? Bring it back. So to me, the idea of bringing yourself back to joy is a spiritual practice. So dearest Amy of my love, so she's helped me with this. Here's one of the things that I love doing is finding pictures or stories. And I want to just show you a few pictures if this all works. She's so good at her little technical stuff that I can't do, of just pictures of some joy that has, now look at this. You talk about joy. That's Alyssa Liu, who just won in the Olympics. Look at her joy. And I love how the other two women are applauding her. They're not going, oh God, she's having joy. Well, I got second and I got third. And, I don't want to do that. Look at how her joy is expressed in their faces as well. Okay, you can show the next picture, Amy. Yeah, you can even just, if you can, just go from slides. Oh, that's fine. Yeah, let's do that one. So look at that. So babies, oh my God, are you like me that if it's like, 12 o'clock at night and you have to go to bed, but you're scrolling Facebook and you're seeing all these adorable pictures? I mean, I look at a face like that, it just makes me happy. Okay, go to the next one. I mean, even looking at okay, that's another picture of her. Look at that joy. I think that's just when she ended. She was just like, yes, I did it. Celebrate yourselves. That's another part of joy too, is just really celebrating yourself. Let's see what comes out. I love this. So this woman, this is a guy that has this thing he's doing. He's taking seniors out on bike rides that can't get out. And he just drives them around. I mean, look at the joy on her face. All right, so do you think you could do that video? She's going to try. And if it doesn't work, it's fine. Actually, we could even just tell them to go to his Facebook page. All right, she's trying. Well, in the meantime, look at this. I did this with AI until she gets this. Look at it. This is AI, me skating. You love it? I don't skate, but joy. It's what we do these days when we're bored. Just go online and make pictures of yourself. All right, let's see if this works. Okay, check this out. So this is my friend Gary Lynn Floyd. His dog, it had just snowed in Reno. And look at, this is just the most adorable thing. He just dives around, puts his head in the snow. I mean, if this does not show you what joy looks like, is that just the most adorable thing? So go to Gary Lynn Floyd's Facebook page. Thank you, Amy. That's fabulous. He even has music that goes with it. So, so that's great. That's just so great. Thank you, Amy. That was very good. A little Miss Technical. I love it. So joy is truly a practice. And I love this quote from Henry Nouwen. Joy does not simply happen to us. We have to choose joy and keep choosing it every day. I'm going to say that again. Joy does not simply happen to us. It can. You can have moments of joy that all of a sudden are just like, oh, there it is. But I love that he says, we have to choose joy and keep choosing it every day. So I want to read you, I'm going to end with this today. I want to read you a story that I read that really touched my heart, because when I wanted to do a talk about joy in the midst of all the wackadoodle times, when you think about the tragedies that are happening in the world, or even the things that can happen to us personally, and you think, oh, how can I find any joy in this? Again, this is a rather lovely story about this family that chose joy. So let me just read this to you, so you can even just close your eyes and take it in. So 13 summers ago, my family and I went to the fireworks show in our small town. We were so close to where they were shooting them off that we had to lie on our backs to see them. The lights rained down upon us, bits of paper falling on our faces. I started to panic. What about if the kids get these embers on them? I looked I looked at my husband, and his face held the same concerns. But we were in it now, and we might as well just go with it. The kids were squealing with delight. My youngest child yelled out, "I am so happy." I knew she was, and I was too. Our whole family was so happy. But then 4 months later, my husband was diagnosed with a rare form of cancer that the doctors assured us was manageable. But 9 months later, he died. In his final weeks, the doctors kept saying he'd pull through, so I told my children the same thing. In May, when he lay in the hospital in a coma, I assured him, "We're going to be fishing this summer in August. Don't you worry." But the morning after their father died, I called the kids to the couch, and I made sure I was touching each one of them. When I gave them the news, my oldest one screamed, "You're lying." The other two started sobbing and saying, "But you said we were going to go fishing. You said we were going to go fishing." Friends and neighbors came to the house bringing food and flowers, wanting to do the impossible, which was to make us feel better. Then finally, it was just us sitting at the dining room table in our new configuration. We left the dad's seat empty. It was mid-June, and the summer loomed ahead. "You guys," I said, "the most terrible thing that could happen to a family has happened to us. There's nothing I can say or do to make that less true, but we have a choice today. We can pull down the blinds and stay inside and just be, or we can be thankful for our friends and family and each other, and we can still go to the beach. We can still have a summer. We have to decide. We have to choose how we want to live." Haley, who was 11, said, "I choose the second thing. Let's just have fun, but we can still think about Dad too, right?" Allison, 13 years old, said, "Well, of course we can think about Dad. He wouldn't mind if we had a summer." Christopher, who was 5, said, "Let's not stay inside with all the windows shut, except on the days when we have to." We agreed. Let's stay inside only on the days we have to. It turned out that sadness didn't last whole days, just parts of the days. Allison watched videos of her dad late at night and just sobbed. Haley stormed around making demands. "What are we going to do now? What's for dinner? Why can't this be better?" Christopher lay in bed with the picture of his dad and just clung onto it. He would just weep. But we didn't bother with blind optimism or denial. We were all keenly aware of what we had lost. Instead, we approached every hour with the aim to take from it the best we could. And one day we were in the car, and the song "Hey Ya" by Outkast came on the radio. That song seemed to be everywhere that summer, and it was impossible not to dance to it. So you know what? We did. Windows down, radio up. We sang loud and bounced hard. A few blocks from home, a neighbor on the corner watched us pass by with a look of horror. Here we were, so publicly happy, though my husband, their father, was only 6 weeks gone. The neighbor didn't understand how joy could exist in the midst of tragedy. To be honest, neither did I. But it can. It did. We made the choice for joy, and we were grateful. So I want to end with that today of just saying, let's all just make the choice for joy every day. In the midst of tragedy, in the midst of what's going on in the world, in the midst of whatever's going on, look for those joy bubbles. And I just say, I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith. And I choose joy every moment, every day. Now there may be walls and there may be roadblocks in my way, but I can choose to take a higher path each day. And now I know that what I thought was safe and sound was only habit and regret that held me down. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. I will release any fear that blocks my way. For every step I take is taken in pure faith. And I am joyful, I am kind, I am loving, I surrender every moment, every day. And so it is. I'll leave you with one last quote. I love this quote. When life tries to twist your tutu, just twirl around and dance.
That's perfect, Karen. Thank you. I affirm that. Twirl around and dance. Dancing is also healing. Wow, beautiful. Thank you for all of that. Um, you know, your song, you just sang one of my favorites. I will surrender to my greatest, highest good. And often, whatever it is that you're walking through, be it what it may be, um, is the path to your greatest, highest good. And so rather than, yeah, being in resistance to that, find the joy. I love the joy bubbles. That is just, uh, I know exactly what you're talking about. I know that feeling of a joy bubble. So that's a perfect description of it. I've never heard it said like that. I've called it joy seeking before, but I love that, noticing the joy bubbles, because that's exactly what they are. They bubble up.
They bubble up and they go, and you can't hang
Yeah,
on to them. That's why you have to surrender,
yeah,
but you
yeah.
have to notice them.
Yes,
And then pretty soon, like
yes.
if you're in the midst of, grieving or whatever it is, you get these little joy bubbles that come up, and pretty soon
Mm-hmm.
more and more of them come up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it reminds me of, like, I don't know how my visual was, like, um cells or atoms or something scientific, like connecting to each other and growing like a string.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think that this is such a potent conversation, because there's always going to be stuff in life. And whether it be, your immediate family or the world around you or whatever, there's going to be things that show up that don't feel good, and we get to choose. I love this, going back to just the first song today about choosing. I get to choose. And what a gift that is for us, because I know everybody here understands that we get to choose. I do know there are people that are in a different awareness that think, it's just happening and I have no control. And we have such this liberating gift to know that we get to make the choice, and there's room for all of it, like your story. There's room to have the moments of grief or feel whatever you need to feel, and there's both. And so thank you for bringing that message too. I think
Yeah.
that's an important one.
Well, and I
Let's
also
check.
think it's important. One of the things too is that you can know that you can choose, and there can be times where you're choosing to not do anything about it. I
Yes,
remember
I love that.
that song Today I Choose. I remember I was lost in the middle of a forest in Atlanta trying to get to a conference, and I had just gotten that album that song is from, and
Uh,
I was listening to it because I hadn't even heard it yet. I listened to it, and that song came on, and I was really like freaked out, because and it was like, don't tell me to choose. I was like it's like yelling at myself, going, you don't know what I'm going through right now,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know so it's like there will be times where that, but it's like it's still too hard to choose, and let that be okay
Right.
too.
And you give yourself permission. Right. Yeah. Uh, many of my family just had another big loss. And I was telling my nephews, and give yourself permission. Maybe it's not, for weeks on end, but maybe say for an hour, I get to be in the thick of this.
Right.
And then take a breather and then come back to it. And whatever you need, like, we know, like, we do have this divine wisdom inside. We have guidance that we know what is the best path for us if we are still enough to tune in. Let's check in with the feed here. I know there's been so much being shared here. Thank you, everybody. Jennifer says, thank you, Karen, for reminding us that shifting our thoughts into a higher consciousness can be fun. Yes. Yes, it can be. I celebrate joy, Marianne says. Pat says, yes, courage. Thank you, Karen, for your inspiring words. So encouraging. Melinda says, I make a choice for joy. Sonia says, Karen, you are my joy today. I love it. Sonia says, Amen. And so it is, you joyful bundle of sunshine and love. Hey, Betty Lou. Betty Lou says, absolutely joy-filled truth. We can choose. Indeed. Michael J., Prince of Peace, welcome. He says, joy bubbles are very freeing and healing for me. Joy lives in my belly. I love it. Nancy says, I loved your marathon story, all those obstacles, and you did it anyway. I know, right? Any other thoughts, comments? Put them in the chat. I loved the marathon story. That really
It's true.
puts you out of the comfort zone, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because swimming is your comfort zone when we're talking athletics, so but running isn't, and yet you opened yourself up to a whole different experience,
Yeah. It
joyful
was a trip.
experience.
It was a trip. I just loved it. And I connected, in this huge group of people. I was just
Yeah.
standing there, and there was this woman who was probably like 85 years old or so. And she's all in her pink with everything pink. And, I
Okay.
just started chatting with her. And all of a sudden, in the midst of all these people, I made a little friend. And she said, oh, I've been doing this I'll walk you through it of what you're supposed to do and how you do it. And I tried to keep up with her. I lost her. She just like took off. But, it was really, it's like when you go through, I mean, that's a whole other talk I'm working on right now, is like choosing discomfort
Mm,
it's so liberating when
yeah.
you can lean through it and, just breathe through it, of like, you can really see what you're capable of and surrender to
Yeah.
your highest good. If it's to your highest good, it's just, it'll happen in its own divine way.
Right. Yeah. I mean, there's so many quotes about this, on the
Yeah.
other side of your comfort zone, there it is, right? And yet to get there, we have to navigate sometimes this nervous system that we contend with that gets into fight, flight,
Yeah.
and reactive, like, don't do that. That's scary. That's new. And we get on the other side of that. Part of our psychology, and then we get to experience these different levels, different areas in life of joy, and
Yeah.
all those joy bubbles connect. I love this conversation. Let's check back in. Marianne says, I wept when you sang the last song, one of my favorites. I agree, that's one of my favorites too. Betty Lou says, abundance, joy, and gratitude for all we bring with our love for and with one another. Indeed. Amen. Nancy says, would you do it again? She has a question. The marathon.
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, it is a good question.
I'm not sure. I think that could have been a one-time thing, looking for something else that would spark
Mm.
me. But I don't know. The San Francisco, what is it? The Beta Breakers. I looked at that. That's like even more people, and people all get dressed
Um,
up in wacky costumes and stuff. So I'm thinking about that. We'll see.
oh, that's fun. Oh, wow. That's a great question, Nancy.
Yeah.
Nancy asks good questions. I have noticed over the years, Nancy. You usually bring me into somewhere like, I didn't think about that. Dan says, I surrender to my greatest, highest good. Ashe, I say yes. Affirming that, Kathy says, I love the joy bubbles, but Karen, in my experience, in the worst grief, the most amazing joy and gratitude arises.
Mm.
Yes, yes. I know that's the grace. I call that grace, Kathy, where you have
Yeah,
this.
it really is grace, because really, when you're
Yeah.
in grief and you have someone saying to you, "Oh, just look for your joy bubbles," you want to just go, But
Yeah.
when you look at it,
Forget your
like
joy bubbles.
it might be like one little thing comes up in the day,
Yeah.
that helps you just keep going through it.
Yeah. There's a process to everything. There's, I call it the acute stage. When you first get the news, it's kind of the shock or whatever. And there's stages and phases, and then like the map goes. It's not like stage one, two, three, four, five. It's like
Right.
all of it.
Well, that's why I wanted that reading from her of the trees, because it's really true. I mean, I
Yes.
love, because I live right near Muir Woods. That's our
Yeah.
nighttime walk,
Yeah.
and those redwoods are just phenomenal. But it's really true. It's
Yes.
in groves, and the fact that they
Yeah.
reach out. And I
They do.
understand when you research it even more, like if there's this tree that's dying, that the other trees will put nutrients into that. I mean, it's like there's this whole interconnected
System. Yeah.
system.
This healthy system. I mean, it's really It's profound to think about and compare to our communities. I love that you brought that up too, is when you say we want to turn to family in these times. And that's what our spiritual family, our spiritual community is, a place, our safe haven, to hold us and nourish us through all of life's
All of it.
seasons. Yeah, all of
Yeah.
it. I love that reading too. And Pat, if you send it to me or put it in the group, we can definitely share that out.
Yeah,
It
it's
was
beautiful.
Yeah, it was. Pat usually writes the inspirational reading, so I'm going to assume that that was hers this morning as well. So, wow. Okay, thank you everybody for being with us. We are going to wrap up here on the live stream and move into the Zoom room at 11:30 Pacific time. We will be over there. Everybody is welcome. We are getting ready to have a joy play shop. Are you ready to talk about the joy bubbles? I am. So find us there. I'm going to drop the link right here in our live stream. And then it's also on our website on the homepage, unityinspiredliving.org. You'll see a picture of Karen and then the link to the Joy Play Shop. So everybody, thank you for being here. If today's experience with Karen has touched you, if this community supports your growth, supports you in all different ways, please consider participating in an energetic exchange with us in the flow of giving through our website on the giving page. We are greatly appreciative of your generosity. It keeps our message and our music and our connection flowing out into the world, and we are so grateful for that. Karen, before we log off here, tell everybody how they can find you and find out about the cruise and your retreats and all the things that you're doing.
Thank you, Darwell. Okay, so KarenDrucker.com. Just go to www.KarenDrucker.com. On the homepage, there's a thing about my Joy Cruise, which is leaving out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, doing the Caribbean, all through the Caribbean. And it's a women's retreat, but you can bring your spouse and kids and whatever. But when we meet, it's just going to be us gals. And then I do my sacred sing thing every Sunday, once a month on a Sunday, and that's also on the homepage. You just click on the link, and you can go to that when we do that. I think it's Sunday, April 14th or 12th is the next one. And sign up. I actually, if you can, sign up on my email list, because then whenever I'm doing anything, I have new music or new retreats, because I do have other retreats. I'm doing a retreat at Unity Village in October, if you've never been to Unity Village. So it's all there. So go to my website, KarenDrucker.com.
Great.
And that
Karen
is it.
Drucker. Wonderful. Good. Well, we
donk.
are so grateful for your presence.
I'm grateful for
You have
you.
blessed us tremendously. We are going to close with our prayer of protection here on the screen. So everybody receive, let it land. The light of God surrounds you. The love of God enfolds you. The power of God protects you. The presence of God watches over you. The mind of God guides you. The life of God flows through you. The laws of God direct you. Peace of God abides within you. The joy of God uplifts you. The strength of God renews you. The beauty of God inspires you. And wherever you are, God is, and all is well. Amen. Thank you for being with us, everybody. We are moving into the Zoom room for the Joy Play Shop. We will see you there. Shine on, bright ones. We love you dearly. Mwah. Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.